I'm kind of surprised this still fits, you know? It's alright. There was a bit of dust on it, but I think it's okay. Anyways, let's get on right into it. Hey guys, what's up? IrishEmerald here, and welcome to our Season 3 draft recap for FIPA, where we are back, I should say. Let me get my words right. We are back for another season of FIPA. If you guys haven't missed the first 2 seasons, go check them out. Spoilers! Last season we did very, very well. We went 7-3 in the regular season. It was a fantastic performance by us. We unfortunately got knocked down in the quarterfinals, but it is what it is. But it was a huge step in the right direction for us, especially with going into the draft league and World Cup and qualifying for it. If you've missed the update on that, there's a video on the channel. Go check it out. Basically, I reviewed the last 3 leagues we're in and all the kind of good stuff, and how we are getting on regarding towards qualification for the Draft League World Cup next summer. Anyways, we need obviously we have 2 more leagues coming up with FIPA, with UBL, and I definitely want to do well in at least one of them. 6 wins minimum in at least one of these 2 leagues to help us secure our spot in the Draft League World Cup coming up. So that's the aim of FIPA this season. I'm not going to make any bold, boisterous claims that, oh look, we're going to go, whatevs, we're going to win the whole thing. No, 6 wins, carry on. That is literally the motto here for me. So anyways, draft-wise, we were somewhere in the middle of the draft. I can't really recall where it went. The last few days been a blur. It's been happening over like the Christmas period, if you guys are watching in the future. So like life in the Emerald household, as you probably could see from the background, is crazy. But it is what it is. But our first pick was Crimson Arm Mega Scizor. It fell to us. Now I wouldn't say it fell. It was kind of, we drafted in the normal spot. But Mega Scizor is one of the top megas in the Natdex meta at the moment. I figured we might as well pick it up and use it, because we haven't used it in a while, and it just gives me everything that I love to use on a team. It's a really nice bulky offensive pivot, which is fantastic. You guys get the drift. You see the stats here: 150 base attack, and then that 140 defense, 100 speed def is fantastic. I get roost, U-turn, defog, butter punch. All that kind of good stuff that comes along with Mega Scizor, as you can probably see on the screen. We get all of this kind of delicious stuff. Knockoff is fantastic. You kind of get catch drift, Swords Dance. It's able to do a plethora of different things, Mega Scizor, and it's able to pair up with pretty much absolutely anything you want it to. And that was the reason why I picked it up. We've used it. We've done well with it. Why not go with it again? One thing though that definitely does shut Mega Scizor down in its tracks is a bulky water type that's able to kind of come in very easily on Scizor and just wall it very effectively. So one of the big things I wanted to get was, I wanted to get a Pokemon that can immediately not only like deal with those bulky water types, but that can also provide a mismatch nightmare for our opponent. And that's when I decided we'd pick up Zeraora with our second pick. I've got a love-hate relationship with this Pokemon. There's sometimes I bring Zeraora and it's great, and there's other times I bring Zeraora and it's middling, if you catch my drift. And I'm going to give it another shot here. The problem with dealing with bulky waters is like you either need a great grass type or a great electric type to be able to deal with it. And you could argue, yeah, maybe I could have waited a little bit longer, got a different electric type, but Zeraora gives you that lead speed, it gives you coverage that you need, it's able to hit on both sides of the house, and it gives me a Volt Switch, so I have Volt Switch, so I'm able to complete a Volt Turn core very easily. So that's the reason why I picked it up. It's not fantastic. Well, it's like, I don't think it's fantastic all the time. It's been middling for me sometimes, but hopefully with this coverage here, we're able to just get it to do a little bit of work for us, and we can hopefully move on, and it can shine for us this season. Speaking of bulky water types, no, I did not draft one, but because I already have a Pokemon that is able to clean up bulky water types, I decided let's get another Pokemon that appreciates the removal of bulky water types, and that can absolutely smack things up. The other thing is that Scizor does not like dealing with fire types, does not like dealing with bulky steel types. So having a Pokemon that's able to just beat those two, as that appreciates the removal of bulky water types, I figured this is a lethal combination. And that's the reason my third pick, we picked up Keldeo. So Ponyboy Keldeo is back this season. It's been a long time since I've used it. You can just see the stats here: 129 special attack, 108 speed. It hits like a truck. And the combination of Hydro Pump and Secret Sword basically stops every single team in their tracks. Unless you're like a Primarina or something like that ilk, you're not really going to appreciate having to deal with a Keldeo week in, week out. So I figured it'd pair very nicely. We get flip turn as well. If this gen, which is brilliant, allows us to switch in and out along with the regular, like the usual Kelly moves we're going to be getting. I figured it was a really good idea. Works out really nicely, pairs well with the other two Pokemon we got, and we'll see how it goes. Next up, we grabbed Togekiss, and why did we pick Togekiss, you may ask? It's pretty simple. You just look at the stats here firstly. If you haven't seen Togekiss in a while, there it is, 120 base special attack, the bulk on either side of the house, 80 speed, it's very respectable, it's fantastic. The move pool, you guys know, we get Air Slash, we do get the Dazzling Gleam, we get Roost, we do get the fire coverage, we do get a bit of grass coverage. We get a whole plethora of nice different stuff there, which is really, really nice. As well, we have the Thunder Wave shenanigans that you could always run with the Serene Grace Togekiss. But one of the big reasons why we did pick up Togekiss is not only does it help me with Dragon Spam and all that kind of good stuff, but it helps and also it helps with ground types. And that was one of the reasons it helps with ground types. We have an immunity to it, and with Zeraora, so those two immunities go very nicely with Zeraora and the flying type. But the big thing is, like, Togekiss can come in on most grass types. So like most grass types kind of come in, we can bring in Togekiss on them anytime we want. Togekiss can just Air Slash them down, pull them into pieces, and that's really, really good. It just takes a bit of the workload off Scizor having to be a bulkier pivot, and it allows Togekiss to kind of come in and take that workload off him, and it's absolutely fantastic. So I figured Togekiss was a good pairing there, and we went with that. Next up, we have a Pokemon that I never thought we were going to draft, and that is Deoxys Defense. You can see the stats on the screen, you can see the defense, it's bulky as hell. The main reason why I never thought I would draft this Pokemon is, like, for me, it's just too passive. I don't like a Pokemon that just sits in it as a wall. I'm never a huge fan of that, but I needed hazards. I have no hazards on the team. I got great removal in Mega Scizor and Togekiss, but I know hazards, and a big part of my playstyle is offensive momentum with hazard support. I'm a big fan of that. That's normally how I play my games. I needed hazards in some capacity, and Deoxys Defense not only has the Stealth Rock here, but it also has spikes. And the fact that I had combinations of both means that it's going to force teams to have to run Defog or Rapid Spin every single week to be able to counter us. And then, like, I do get nice coverage. You can see here, Energy Ball, E-Speed. I do get Calm Mind if I want to sub Dark Pulse, Ice Beam, Knock Off. Nasty Plot. Like, there is ways and means for Deoxys Defense to be built a little bit more offensively if I decide to do it. Now, I could be completely wrong by Deoxys, and I could fall in love with it by the end of this season. I'm hoping that is the case, but we'll see. But it was definitely a Pokemon I never thought I would draft, but my front office said this would be a good Pokemon to pick up for this squad. Hopefully it does. I'm pretty sure we get Teleport as well. Yes, we do. So Teleport, you just switches out. It's just another pivot. You just look at it pivoting on my team at the moment. Every single Pokemon is able to pivot. That is absolutely fantastic. So it just suits the playstyle down to a T. Next up, I drafted a very firm favourite for an awful lot of Draft League players out there in Seismitoad. Seismitoad, very, very popular. A lot of Draft League players do love this thing, and it's mainly down to its utility. You look at the utility there that I'm slowly just scrolling down here, you guys. Like, it gets pretty much a hell of a lot of moves on both sides of the house. It's absolutely fantastic. And then its base stats are very even across the board. It's able to be quite defensive. It's able to sponge an awful lot of hits with that high HP stat. And then I get a water immunity as well and water absorb. So Seismitoad is very, very popular. And I figured we'd pick it up. A, because I needed a ground type. B, I needed a bulky water type. Kind of help me kind of come in and out on certain Pokemon, particularly like a fire type that comes in on a Mega Scizor. I need a bulky water type. Can't rely on Togekiss to do that every single time, so need a bulky water type for that. And Stealth Rocks, it's another rock setter, which is absolutely fantastic. The only downside to Seismitoad, and it's the reason why I prefer Swampert over Seismitoad, is I do not get pivoting here. Whereas with Swampert, I would have gone Flip Turn, and Swampert does for me the exact same job as Seismitoad, without Water Absorb, but with Flip Turn. And I would rather have Flip Turn over Water Absorb, but it is what it is. I can't change that. We're going with Seismitoad instead, and we'll see where it takes us. At this point in the draft, you guys, it started to get very tricky. Points started to dwindle. Most teams were drafting very top heavy as well. We would be one of them. The vast majority of teams were drafting very top heavy. And we had a couple of holes that we needed to fix. We needed a grounded poison type to absorb toxic spikes. We still needed a fire type. We still needed a ghost type. We did not have a dark type. Lot of stuff there. Didn't have a dragon type either. Like, so something was going to have to give with our draft. But you know, it was tough. I won't lie, it was tough. Particularly because I really wanted Whimsicott. I wanted a good grass type, and the reason why I wanted a good grass type was because I wanted, again, something to punish bulky waters very easily and just put a ton of pressure on that bulky water type, so that way Keldeo and Megazord can go in. But unfortunately that was not the case. We didn't get Whimsicott. So like the strategy was changed several times. It was an absolute nightmare. But we eventually settled on going for Slazzle. Ivy, we've used Slazzle before. I won't be lingering too long on Slazzle. You guys have seen me use it a few times in draft leagues past. It hits a speed tier that was missing on our squad. It hits quite hard. It's a grounded poison type. It'll do the business for us, which is good. Unfortunately, I was hoping to pick up Turtonator again, because I thought Turtonator on our squad would look very good, but the poison types was like, there was a severe lack of good poison types on our team, and it was not good. It was not good, so we bit the bullet and we went for Slazzle instead, and hopefully it does the job. As I was saying, I needed a dark type, and personally I was also looking for a really good physical wall breaker. We had Scizor, but Scizor's definitely more of a sit-up mon, and I don't want Scizor to have to do wall breaking for me week in, week out. And if you look at the rest of my team, more specially orientated, so I definitely needed a physical wall breaker. I was looking at Obstagoon. Obstagoon looked very, very tasty, but a little bit pricey, I thought. But we did pick up Crawdaunt. Now, if you guys haven't seen Crawdaunt before, it's 120 base attack. I've never used it in a draft league before, so it's definitely going to be fun. But the big thing about Crawdaunt is adaptability. You can just see it there. This Pokemon's same type of attack bonus, Stab, is 2 instead of 1.5. So instead of, like, say, you know, with Crabhammer, for instance, or Liquidation, doing 1.5 times damage like what I would say for a Seismitoad, just as an example, it does twice as much damage. And that means Crawdaunt is just a far more superior wall breaker. If you just look at our stabs, if we go, let's say Crabhammer here, 100 base power and knock off 65 base power, or like that would be, what was it, 120 or something like that? Yeah, it's like 90 something. If that's a stab, then all of a sudden, rather than that being, say, for knockoff 90 base power, or sorry, Crabhammer, 100 base power, rather than that being a 150 base power move, that's a 200 base power move, and that's what allows Crawdaunt to be so powerful. Aqua Jet as well, we get a bit of priority. We get Sword Sense too. This is a very common set with Crawdaunt, just right here like this, and then going bang, bang, that's Crawdaunt, essentially. And if you were to run this, most people will be terrified, because they're like, how do you deal with it? It's so difficult. The dual stab is very, very hard. And again, it puts pressure on bulky waters on our opponent's team. They have to come and they have to stay alive, because as soon as they don't, Keldeo or Crawdaunt breaks through them. That left us with 4 points for at least 2 Pokemon, you guys. It was tough. We needed a grass type, we needed a dragon type. The dragon type we were going to get was going to be awful, and the grass type was going to be dependent on what we were going to go for. I decided to go for Trevenant. I thought Trevenant would be a decent enough. It gives us Ghost type in as well, which we didn't have, so it's a spin blocker, which is good for our team. We get Harvest. So Harvest gives me the ability for, if a berry is used, that we have a 50% chance of getting it back if at the end of the turn. So let's say we eat our citrus berry, 50% chance we're going to get a citrus berry back on Trevenant again. It's very good for berry reducing items, for damage reducing items as well. Say like the Cover Berry, and we come in, we take a knockoff, Cover Berry will take a hit and we should be fine. So that's that, which is really, really nice. And then outside that, look, Trevenant's got a nice decent move pool. It can be a bit of a nuisance, will require prep for our opponents. So that was what was really nice about it, and we said we'd give it a go. And then lastly, we picked up Sliggoo, our 1-point dragon type. And you're probably wondering what the hell you do in Irish, like it's Sliggoo. But look, it's an Evolve Pokemon. Its Spadef is ridiculous. It gets Sap Sipper. And that was the huge thing for me. It basically gives us a grass immunity. So grass types comes in to try and beat our water offense. Doesn't happen. We have another Pokemon that's able to sponge that. Another Pokemon that's able to spin a sponge, a Thunderbolt as well. And the big thing is, with Toad being our ground type, it also beats in an Energy Ball. But with Sliggoo there, our opponent sees it, they have to think twice about clicking Energy Ball or something of that ilk. So that's the reason why we went with Sliggoo. It was, look, honestly, it was 6-1 half to does the other. We went Trevenant and Sliggoo, but we were very easy, could have gone Growthal and Fracture. It was 6-1 half to does the other, but I figured this gives us a little bit more defensive balance, and it requires our opponents to be clever. If they see Sliggoo, they can't just be spamming moves and go from there. But yeah, that's our team, you guys. Hope you enjoy this season coming up. I think we'll have one battle before Christmas, then we have 9 weeks straight afterwards, and hopefully we can do well. I'm aiming for 6 wins. If we can get 6 wins, I'm happy out. And I can ride off to the sunset then, and we can be comfortable in that we'll qualify for the Draft League World Cup. So 6 wins, hopefully we get there, get into playoffs, and we'll see what happens. But yeah, if you enjoyed today's video, please click the like button down below for me. Let me know what you guys thought in the comment section down below. Love to hear you guys weigh in on your thoughts and all that kind of good stuff. And yeah, click the subscribe button if you want to see more coming away on this channel. And Twitch is in the description down below. And on that note, I'm going to get on up out of here. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.